Hi friends, Prepared Suburbanite here. Been thinking an awful lot lately about being prepared and the whole prepper community and what we're really up against and what we're designed to face. And I've got enough research done and enough of my own thoughts on the matter to probably do a series of 2 or 3 videos, 10 to 15 minutes long, where I want to share with you some of my thoughts about being prepared when the shit hits the fan. I'll be right back. All right, so first off, let's talk about the different kinds of preppers. I think we've all been exposed to different kinds of preppers as we explore YouTube videos, do research on being prepared and some of the SHTF scenarios that we're going to end up facing eventually. And I've put together a list here of about 10 different kinds of preppers, different mindsets of the prepper community. And the first one on the top of my list are the lone wolves, survivalists, bushcrafters, off-gridders, those folks that have already mastered the skills necessary for survival. A lot of them do TV shows now, or they may be stars of the Alone TV series. The bushcrafters, Dave Canterbury and his crew, those folks know how to start a fire in the middle of a lake. They can build a shelter out of marshmallows, and you name it, they can do it, and they will probably survive. Off-gridders, those folks that are the hardiest, that have turned their back on modern civilization and have decided that really going off grid, living a very simple lifestyle. You're not hooked up to anything. You're personally responsible for all your own outcomes. Those kinds of folks, I'm going to label them as the lone wolf types. Second group are the sheeple. Now the sheeple, well, they think they're prepared because they believe nothing's really going to happen. And their definition of being prepared is to have a couple extra cans of Campbell's tomato soup and a quart of milk in the fridge, that kind of a thing. But in their plan would be to run off into the woods and hunt game and gather fruits and berries to survive when the S does hit the fan. And they may also believe that the federal government, FEMA, they're going to come through for them. So they really don't have to worry too much about really being prepared, but they think they're prepared and they'll talk a good story. Third group are the looters and the takers. Those are the folks that are going to congeal into marauding gangs. They're going to be the outlaws. They're going to be the ones that are going to be using force to gather their survival supplies after the shit hits the fan. And they're going to do it by force. They're going to do it because they're armed. They're going to do it because they're mean and nasty. And they're going to do it because they haven't prepared for themselves. And their whole prepper philosophy is, I'm coming to your house. The next group are the hoarders. And if you've seen some of the TV shows that feature folks with that kind of a condition, it's truly amazing what some people can collect. But those are the folks that really have like more toilet paper than they have food stores. Now, yeah, having toilet paper is important, having food stores is important, but if you got more toilet paper than you got food stores, you might be a hoarder. They may have 20-year-old bags of rice stored in their pantry somewhere or in a root cellar. Maybe they're good, maybe they're not good, don't know how well they've taken care of things, don't know if they've sealed them up properly, put them in Mylar bags, airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, that kind of a thing. You just never know. But they think they've got everything that they're ever going to need, from 30 different magazine subscriptions from the 50s and the 60s, so that they'll have all kinds of stuff to read when the shit does hit the fan. Not too concerned about the hoarders actually making a big difference in the prepper community. Then there's the tactical preppers. Now these are the folks that are, and I guess they can be good and or bad. They're going to be armed, they're going to have ammo stockpiles, they're generally going to be veterans, oath keepers, or they just may be rednecks. They're going to be very focused on operational security. The good ones are going to be sheepdog. They're going to want to try to help out. They're going to want to try to play a role in the community when we rebuild. They're going to have the defensive skills, the offensive and the tactical skills that are going to be necessary for defense of a community or a city or a county. So there's going to be some good ones, and then there's going to be some bad ones as well. There's going to be those folks that just are armed to the teeth, that are going to incite all kinds of violence in an effort primarily to protect themselves and their property. And I'm not so sure that the bad ones are going to be that much help when the shit does hit the fan. Then we got another group. They're the roamers. Now the roamers are the ones that are going to bug out, and that's their primary shit hits the fan strategy. Is they're going to load up their Jeep, they're going to load up their pickup truck, and they are heading out. Now whether they've got a destination or not, that's going to be up to them. Some do, a lot of them won't. But they may put their lives and the lives of their family in danger if they don't plan well for any kind of a shit hits the fan situation. Then we've got a group that I call the bunker builders. Those are the folks that are primary shit hits the fan plan is to bug in. And they've taken it to an extreme. They've purchased cargo boxes, they've dug deep trenches, they've taken over abandoned missile silos, and they've spent way too much money building a bunker for themselves. Now that was pretty popular back during the heyday of the Cold War when the Russians were threatening. There was a lot of fallout shelters being built in people's backyards, in their basements, in their root cellars, places like that. But we've kind of gotten away from that. The day may come soon when it may be suggested that we do just that. But bunker builders take, I think, the whole prepping theory to an extreme. They may have 2 or 3 years worth of supplies and 2 or 3 years worth of full defense ammo available to them. They've got an underground bunker, they've got generators, they've got extra fuel, they've got everything that you can possibly have to survive underground, away from everybody else, just in case the worst case scenarios do come to pass. Now, not to say that they're wrong, not to say that it's a bad thing, but are they going to be helpful in a community rebuilding kind of a situation after the shit hits the fan? We'll see. Then there's a group that I call the Pacifists. Now, these are the folks that I guess are the leftover hippies from the 60s. They're sort of off-gridders. They deal with homesteading, they deal with gardening, but they're generally non-violent. They raise rabbits, they raise chickens, they may raise goats and pigs and things like that, but they're not really into any kind of defensive mode. And I've seen a few videos here and there, and I've received a number of comments on my own videos from folks that I would kind of classify as pacifists. And they believe that they are self-sustainers, that with their rabbits and their chickens and their goats, that they're going to be able to survive when the shit does hit the fan. Then we've got the conspiracy theorists. Now, these are the folks that have truly taken being prepared to an extreme. These are the folks that believe that Planet X and Nibiru and all the false flag scenarios that you hear about here and there, that the Illuminati's poised to take us over, that Paul McCartney's dead, that there's a Russian influence in the 2016 elections. The conspiracy theories are going to be prepping for all the wrong reasons. It's not real what they believe in. I think you can recollect going back in time and thinking about the folks that ended up in Jonestown, or that were part of the mystic cults that committed mass suicide, thinking that the aliens were going to come in Comet Hale-Bopp and come and take them away and take them all to heaven or wherever they think they were going to go, and they all just committed mass suicide for whatever reasons but they believed in those reasons. Are they going to be a big help after the shit hits the fan? Probably not. And then you've got the realists. And of course, I'd like to put myself in that category as a realist, but I also have tendencies in some of the other groups as well. I am sort of a lone wolf at times. I am kind of a hoarder at times. I am a tactical prepper at times. But the realists look at the real world situations and they say, what's truly at risk here? And what am I going to be up to? And what am I going to have to face? And they begin prepping for all the right reasons. They look at the economic situations. They look at natural disasters. They look at any kind of eventuality where they are going to be without power, without communications, without fuel, without heat, and they've taken steps to prepare for that. They've got water storage, they've got water filtration systems, they've got a sustainable garden available to them, even though maybe not even in their backyard, but they could be part of a community gardening kind of a thing. And I've seen some very successful ones right here in Wake County. The churches get together and do that in different places, and my goodness, the food that they raise on small plots of land is just amazing. But the realists, I think, are doing it all for the right reasons. And the right reasons are that we have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to be responsible for our families. We can't truly count on the government to be there for us when the shit does hit the fan. Some of the other thoughts that I've had in relation to this whole being prepared, shit hits the fan kinds of scenarios is I wanted to try to break down what the risks are, basically in categories. And I want to give a shout out to Canadian Prepper and to the Prepared Mind channel. Those guys have really dug in and thought about it and done a ton of research and put together some really great ideas. I'll put a couple of links to those other prepper YouTube channels down in this one so that you can get some different opinions. But the Canadian Prepper's got some really great ideas. The Prepared Mind channel, he's really thinking about it almost day in and day out. His video production is prolific. He's doing one or two every day, and they're all good. They're all right to the point, and they're all about just what we're talking about here. So in this series, I'm going to be talking about the different kinds of disasters that we're going to be faced. And then I'm going to be talking about the things that we should be and can be doing to be prepared for those shit hits the fan situations. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and stay tuned for parts 2 and 3 and maybe 4.